Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunch for the Soul. I'm Melissa Wilson. I'm so happy you're joining me today. It is going to be an interesting day for a whole lot of people to learn about how to work through grief. I think we all go through some tough times in our lives, but our guest today has really figured out a way to make women feel special, especially women over 50, and she's going to tell us why. Joining us is Sandra Morgan, a publisher. Welcome to Lunch for the Soul. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's an honor to be able to talk to you. Tell us about your publishing company and you're quite the accomplished author and poet yourself.
Well, we have Morgan Pierce Media and Publishing. It is a hybrid publishing company, meaning we're not a traditional company, but we're also not one of the self-publishing companies. So we go into more of a different way of publishing. And as far as books published, I have one published book and a couple of poems published. I used to publish a women's magazine for about 15 years. And there we are.
Well, you're making a lot of difference, and especially in women's lives going through grief. But I want everybody to know, if you're joining us, I feel like this conversation can help anybody of any age and certainly men as well. But talk to us, Sandra, about how you got involved in this anyway, of trying to make a difference. And then I want everyone to learn about the book that you co-authored, or the letters, I should say, that you send to people to make a big difference. They're beautiful. I think that it's such a neat concept and something I have never heard of before.
Well, there has been, over the past 10 years in my life and the past probably almost 10 years in my business partner's life, and we've lost a lot of people. We've lost parents, we've lost spouses, we've lost some of my friends have lost children, a lot of things, a lot of death. And there is a stigma around grief that you need to just buck up and just get on with life. And there's really no understanding of it, I don't think. And it's not our fault. We don't know how to react to grief. We want to help. We want to nurture. We want to take care of people. And sometimes the things that we say or do don't really help. They sometimes hurt more than they help. So that led me and my business partner, Carrie, to write letters that you actually receive in the mail, not via email or text or whatever. I think we are all getting very tired of that. And so we have physical letters that come to you twice a month. And in these letters, you will receive a message from someone who has actually gone through the grief process. And they're very personal. There's a lot of topics and information in there that is very personal. And we share that with you because we want you to know that we do understand what you're going through. So we decided to put those together to send out to grieving women. And why women only? Well, they're written by women. And we would love to find a man to be able to write some letters to provide to the men too. But in the letters that we have, the information, the topics really, pertain to women. So we're not.
I just think it's so unique because you were talking about sometimes saying the wrong thing, and that can be so tough. And one thing that bothers me, I think, even more than saying the wrong thing from friends, is when they don't know what to say, so they don't say anything at all, and they just bow out of your life for a while, just trying to figure out. They're afraid they'll say the wrong thing, and that can be so hurtful. But to get something like this in the mail, I feel like it can be really fulfilling. And they're beautiful letters. I read one of them, and I could see, if you're in a dark place in life and just trying to figure out where to go next and how to figure out the next steps in life, that it can be really difficult. Let's talk about some things besides the letters that make a difference in lives. Before we do that, I want to make sure people know that they can sign up for that. Is it $150 to do that?
$150.
How long does that last?
It's for a whole year. It's for a
Mhm.
full year, letters once a month, twice a month.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So every
For a
2
full
weeks
year.
for an entire year. I mean, that alone, postage is so expensive that almost covers that,
Right.
right, for a year.
Plus,
And it
they get quotes also within the letters. They also get recipes. There's, other things that they get just besides just the letters. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
And I know that you said that you feel like God has really watched over you and your life to help you through the challenges of running your own business, of like you said, these times of grief. How big of a role does faith play in your life?
I don't know what I would do without it.
Mhm.
Honestly, I don't know how people survive without having faith. I am a Baptist minister's daughter, and I don't remember a time when I haven't had that faith. I don't
Mhm.
remember a time when I haven't had it. So for me, there have been a lot of challenges in life. I've had loss, death. I've had loss through divorce, and that can be almost just as painful
Mhm.
as a death.
Mhm.
So I've had that, and illnesses, and health problems, and parents who were aging and having to help them with it's. So all of it has been there, and I cannot imagine not having my faith
Mhm.
and
I know.
having it
I
fall back on.
absolutely second that. It's such an important role in my life and the hierarchy of my life, and that's how my family lives. We
Right,
put that first and everything else comes
right.
under it, and it
That's
seems
right.
like when I if I get really busy and I mess up my hierarchy a little bit and I don't have time to go to church or I didn't have time to pray as much, I really feel sometimes like my life starts crumbling and I get brought right back to where my faith needs to be and where my attention and
Right,
intentions need to be. And so
right.
it's always an important reminder in my own life. Let's talk about some of those steps then that you've seen people get through and work through grief, because I feel like grief can be a lot more than loss of life. Sometimes we get in a fight with somebody, and I consider that to be a grieving time of not knowing how to go about and make it up. So I
Sure.
feel like we can use these steps in many ways in our lives. But what have you seen work besides these letters of people getting to the other side and being happy again after something tough has happened in their life? Because let's face it, life can be tough.
Can be very tough. And there's one thing that I want to bring out. Whenever we are single women, I want to make sure that we understand the separation here between someone who has gotten a divorce and is single again, and
Mhm.
they're ready to get out, and they're ready to date, and they're ready to get back in the world. And then you've got women who have had major loss in their life, and they are actually women alone. They're not alone by choice.
Mhm.
This is something that happened to them. And so there's a big difference between being a single woman, because what happens sometimes, people go, "Ooh, now you're single and you can get back in, back out there and start doing things." And there's a very big difference between a grieving woman who is alone, truly alone, and not by choice, than someone who has gone through a divorce and is
Mhm.
single again and ready to get back out there. So the steps for grieving, there are no steps.
Mhm.
Everyone has their own grieving process. And
Mhm.
for us to sit there and say, I mean, I know that when you do research, there's these specific steps that you're going to have to go through before you can finally get
Mhm.
through the grieving process. The bad part about that is that sometimes you start with the last one,
Mhm.
the anger, and
Mhm.
then sometimes you don't start with that. And so for us to pinhole people into a specific grieving process,
Mhm.
I think that's where the misunderstandings come in,
Mhm.
because we're expecting them to go through this step by step process,
Mhm.
and it's not that way.
No, that
Every
just doesn't
individual
work
has
that way.
no, no,
What are some things that you have gone through or the people you love have gone through? Because I know that there can be stigmas and social problems involved with unexpectedly becoming single. And again, we're talking a lot later in life. I feel like when you're younger, people sort of expect you to be single, but
right,
especially over the age of 50, there are a lot of stigmas that can be involved with that don't have to be.
right. For women who are over 50, there's a whole different ball game when it comes to grief and loss. We're all reaching the age where our parents are getting older, and we know that the loss of them is coming. We're getting older ourselves, so our own mortality comes into play, and that process goes on. There's just a lot of things that are happening in our lives. We're losing friends. We're losing, all of these things that are happening once you get to be the age of 50. So the stigmas that are attached to that are women who, let's talk about women who have lost a spouse
Mhm.
over 50.
Mhm.
Now they're alone. This might be the first time they've been alone since they were very, very young.
Mhm.
They might not have been taking care of the finances. They might have never worked. They might have, their children are now, they've got empty nest, so now they are truly alone. So there's all of those things that come into play with that. And the stigma for that is that people are now expecting you to just pick up and do and go.
Mhm.
And it's a very, very hard process, especially if you're also going through those things, not just the loss.
Mhm. Yeah, that it is really tough to think about, and it's such a shame that you have to even think that way. But that's what it's like for someone who hasn't dealt with it in a long time. I was just thinking the other things is, the emptying nest, and so then you're truly are all alone, and you've got to figure that out. What are some things that have helped besides the letters? Getting with friends, making sure you have a girls' night out. What do you think makes a difference in their lives, and what is that a joy in your own life?
I think that sometimes it's a we it's okay to go out with friends. It's okay to be with family. It's okay to be alone. It's
Mhm.
okay to not want to be around anybody.
Mhm.
But the one thing I can tell you as a person who has gone through grief, don't isolate yourself.
Mhm.
Isolation can be a very devastating thing because the loneliness that you allow to creep into your life when you isolate can
Mhm.
become a crutch. It can become something that's almost comfortable, and you become too dependent upon it. You become very comfortable with the isolation, and so you remove yourself from everyone. That's not healthy.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah.
Let's talk about once you get to the other side, and I guess the letters from Elizabeth that we were talking about earlier that you send out. I was looking at your website, and I love to see what it says. It says that it can help you rediscover yourself, and
Mhm.
that's a beautiful thing, isn't it? I mean, that's when you really are feeling comfortable in your own skin again. What does that mean to you to rediscover yourself?
I just want everyone to know that in these letters, it's not all down and depressing and everything.
Mhm.
There's a lot of uplifting things in here that Elizabeth goes through in her letters. So um, keep in mind that. So please repeat the question again. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just asking you what it means to rediscover yourself, and then also you talk about experience joy again. I mean, how incredible to be able to picture that and then learn to thrive on your own again, not just get by, but
Right.
to thrive. I mean, we get this one chance in life, and to be able to do that is so huge, and I love that you are promoting that through this letters, through your website, and through
Right.
everything else. I think it's important for people to realize too, as a woman that has to be out on her own, the role changes. I mean, maybe she's taking out trash for the first time in her life. Maybe she's cleaning out the pool. I mean, whatever that means that's different in your life that can be difficult, physically demanding. Maybe you're doing the yard because your former husband did that. I mean, there's a lot that women may not think about that they're going to be responsible for now, right?
Right. And then it hits you all at once. That's
Yeah.
that's the real issue is death is right there, and it's all of a sudden you are hit with this that now
Mhm.
I'm responsible for everything. So it becomes I have to either mow the yard myself, or I have to find someone to mow the
Mhm.
yard. I have to change the oil in the car. I
Mhm.
have to change the air conditioning filters. I mean, it's just something that you don't think about in your day-to-day life until everything happens.
Mhm.
When my mother died, I mean, when my father died, my mother had never paid a bill in her life.
Yeah.
And so she didn't know where the checkbook was. She didn't know where anything was. And so I can tell you from my standpoint, I wanted to make sure that I never got there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we
even
we can learn from conversations like this. So if you're not doing the bills right now, I have to admit my husband does the taxes. He does most of the bills. So I know where things are, but I'm sort of in the same position. I feel like conversations like this open our eyes and make us realize that we need
yes,
to have those support systems in place
yeah,
early in life because you never know when it will happen. And
Yeah.
if you have
No.
that backup plan, it's going to be a whole lot easier if it does happen.
Right, right. So I just made sure that I was I was more prepared than my mother was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I lost my first child. I lost my parents at an early age. I've lost both of my brothers. I've lost, friends and family members, and so those things, they knock you down, and they knock you down over and over and over and over and over again, and it becomes difficult to pull yourself back up. But I can tell you, no one else is going to do it. You have to do
Mhm.
it, and you have to find somewhere inside of you. You have to find some strength, and you have to find the want to, because there are days when you don't want to. And so you have to find the want to pull yourself back up,
Mhm.
get back
I
out
know
there, do
one
things.
thing I've always pushed in my own family, Sandra, is the importance of volunteering, and it's so nice to be
Mhm,
able to help somebody
mhm.
else, but we always feel better when we do it ourselves, and you were the perfect example of that. After 4,000 hours of helping our community, you got a presidential award, which is so incredibly impressive.
Thank
Congratulations on
you.
that. But
Thank
did
you.
you did that come about during grief, or is that
It
just
did.
something you've naturally
It
done
did.
in your life?
It came during after I lost my mother. It came during that, and so it got me out of myself. It got
Mhm.
me out of the grief. It got me out of the process, and it pulled me into people who wanted to be around me and who wanted to support me and who cared, truly cared about
Mhm.
what I was going through. And it's hard for us sometimes to do that,
Mhm.
to let go and to allow people to minister to us or to care for us
Mhm.
or to show us kindness and love. And but I can tell you that between that and my friends and other things, that I had several businesses going on, and between all of those things and then my faith, if that there's no way I would have pulled myself through.
Let's talk also about how you use I guess, the good in your life and the life lessons through your own company, through your publishing company. And I know that you try to keep your writers feeling that their writings are sacred, that they're safe. What does that mean to you? And how important do you feel that is for everybody out there who's perhaps trying to write that book right now?
When you say safe, when you say sacred, what are you talking about, children's books, or are you talking
Uh-huh. Yeah, especially
okay.
with children's books.
Okay,
Yes.
especially with children's books, the one thing that we strive so hard. There's our Tommy book, which is a lovely book, and it. When I say keeping story time safe, or keeping things safe for our kids, parents really need to look at what their children are reading. There
Mhm.
are outlets where you can find good books that aren't filled with political agendas and
Mhm.
things like that. So
Mhm.
we try with that, with our children's books especially, to keep them safe and to keep them where parents aren't afraid to read something to their children. And
Mhm.
to me, story time for children is very sacred. It's a
Mhm.
very sacred time, and it should be filled with wonder and amazement and learning things and spending the time, it's quality time with parents or grandparents or aunts
Mhm.
or uncles or whoever, and just keeping it simple for our kids.
Mhm. And almost everybody I know has thought about at some point in their life of writing a book. I'm going to ask our Fox 26 interns who are over here, and they've been helping with the production. They help build a set. Desi, Becca, have you ever thought about writing a book? Either of you? Sorry, you can't see them. They both are saying yes. So I know we're really going off the tracks here, from grief to this, but I think it's so fascinating to have you here since you are a publisher. What is your advice for somebody who wants to and thinks, "Oh, I could never get a publisher," or "I don't know where to begin. It gets overwhelming." What's your best advice?
The best advice that I can give to you is to write. Just write, write, write,
Just
write,
start
write.
writing.
Just start writing.
See what
You know,
happens,
I'm sorry.
and just see what happens?
And just see what happens. Number one, you have to write the book. If you don't write the book, there's no next process. There's no
Mhm,
next step. If you are not familiar with writing, take some writing courses.
mhm,
You can do those online anywhere. Join writing groups if you are a newbie writer. If you've been writing for a long time and you've got that novel that you've been sitting on, you have to finish it. You know,
You gotta get it. And then what's the process like? Let's say it's finished. And then
so
what?
for us, for the process for us is you take your manuscript and you submit it online. There's a on our Morgan Pierce website. There's a place where you can submit it, and we ask that you submit a synopsis and the possibly the first three chapters of your book, and you send that to us. And I will tell you, even though we are a hybrid publisher, we only publish high quality manuscripts. So
Mhm,
make sure that when you send it in, that it's as polished as you can possibly get it.
mhm.
And if you're not sure, we also offer ghostwriting services. So if you're not a writer but you've got a book that is just screaming to get out into the world, we can do that for you too.
So if you have the topic in your mind of what do you want it to be, you can work with somebody and they'll write it?
Yeah,
Oh,
correct.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. Well, how
We've
okay.
got three books right now that we have are in the ghostwriting process. And it's not that people don't have great ideas and they don't have
Mhm,
great book plots or stories or whatever.
mhm,
It's that they just don't know, they don't understand the writing process
mhm.
and they're not comfortable with it. But they
Right.
can tell us and we
Yeah,
can write it for them.
okay. Well, how fascinating. That's good information right there for people to know. Okay, and then, I have your website. I've been looking at it. I've been checking it out. Tell everybody where they can go to find out more information about you.
They can go to morganpiercemediapublishing.com, and it has everything on our website. It has Q&A. It has frequently asked questions. It has all of our services. It has detailed information about each service and how they can get in touch with us. If they're ready to submit their manuscript, just go ahead and send it in to us. Um,
And then remind everybody, we're going to go back to the first of our conversation when we're talking about if you're suffering grief, people can give it as a gift to somebody, to anybody, and have those letters come to their home every other week for a year. Where do they go to sign up for that and to order that?
they go to lettersfromelizabeth.com. Everything is on there too. It's a very simple process.
Mhm,
And you can give it as a gift. As a matter of fact, we have the majority of our subscriptions are gifts to someone else.
mhm.
And so I am so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Life happens. We know that. Everyone, I think everybody has alarms set.
Sorry.
You
Uh,
must have something to do now. No. Okay. So, but that's where they can go and again, give it
yes,
as a gift. I think it'd be a beautiful
yes,
gift.
yeah.
Mhm.
And we've given, like I said, we've given them out as gifts, and the people who are receiving them send us emails and say, they're just so grateful. They love getting the letters in the
Mhm.
mail. We've gotten away from that. We've got, everything's online
Mhm.
now, and we're doing so many things and online, and there's no personal touch. There's nothing for us to
Mhm.
touch,
To
and
get snail mail is a big deal these days for
it is a big
sure.
deal.
Well,
It is a
Sandra,
big.
I'm so happy to talk to you. Thank you for sharing your life's journey with us and for giving us tips and just really good information all the way around. It's such an honor to be able to talk to you. Thank you for sharing this faith journey with us.
Thank you for having me.
All
Have a
right.
good
And I
day.
just, yeah, have a beautiful day. And I just want to remind you all, if you maybe joined us late, you can always go to our Fox 26 YouTube. You can go to fox26houston.com and you will find all of our Lunch for the Souls there. You can also go to our Fox app for your smart TV. So you have lots of choices where you can even watch it right there in the comforts of your home on the big screen. Hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you back here same time next week, 12:30 on Wednesdays. Be blessed.